Here's what happened across the U.S. in the past hour, all in 60 seconds. Democrat Taylor Remmett won a special election for a state Senate seat once held by Republican Kelly Hancock. The victory flips a GOP district in Tarrant County, and Remmett will serve out the term. Democrat Christian Menefee won a special election for a Texas U.S. House seat on Saturday, narrowing Republicans' majority. The former county attorney will head to Washington as Congress debates immigration funding and shutdown fixes. Speaker Mike Johnson said the House plans a vote by Tuesday to end a shutdown and extend Homeland Security funding. The Senate deal faces pushback as Democrats press for rules on ICE operations. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said this weekend the Justice Department's review of the Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell case is finished. He said survivors deserve answers, but prosecutors can't pursue charges without evidence. Portland Mayor Keith Wilson demanded ICE leave the city after agents fired tear gas outside an ICE facility on Saturday. Witnesses said pepper balls were used, and police said thousands attended the protest. Los Angeles police arrested 50 people after an anti-ICE protest downtown on Saturday night. Officers said some threw fireworks and bottles near the federal building, prompting tear gas, dispersal orders, and overnight street closures. A winter storm brought ice and heavy rain, knocking out power across parts of Tennessee, Mississippi, and Louisiana this weekend. Utilities reported outages and said restoration could take days as trees and lines fell. Here's what happened across the U.S. in the past hour, all in 60 seconds. A powerful winter storm dumped rare, heavy snow across North Carolina and even brought flurries into parts of Florida. Officials reported dangerous roads, closures, and outages, warning conditions could linger for days. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei warned on Sunday that any U.S. attack on Iran would trigger a regional war. The warning raises pressure for a diplomatic path as Washington weighs military options. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani named Stanley Richards to lead the Department of Correction. Richards, a former inmate and nonprofit executive, takes over as Rikers remains under federal oversight. A Detroit vigil honored Minneapolis ICU nurse Alex Pretty, who was killed during a federal immigration operation, organizers said. Attendees called for an independent investigation and accountability from federal authorities. The FBI executed a search warrant at Fulton County's election facility near Atlanta and seized 2020 ballots and other records, officials said. The action intensifies a federal probe and draws protests from Georgia Democrats. Automakers and battery makers are slowing or delaying some EV factories in the South after big expansion plans. The pullback is pushing back hiring and could shrink job expectations for local suppliers and workers. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said new U.S. brokered talks with Russia are set for February 4-5 in Abu Dhabi after a February. One session was delayed. Kyiv says it wants substantive progress. Here's what happened across the U.S. in the past hour, all in 60 seconds. Immigration lawyers are increasingly filing habeas corpus petitions to challenge mandatory detention and seek bond hearings in federal court. Judges have ordered releases in some cases, and the administration is appealing. A Detroit vigil honored Minneapolis nurse Alex Pretty, who was killed during a federal immigration operation. Community leaders called for accountability, while authorities said the shooting remains under investigation. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said prosecutors' review of the Jeffrey Epstein case is over after the Justice Department released about 3 million pages. Democrats and survivors' lawyers say more documents remain. Automakers are delaying or resizing some EV and battery projects across the South as demand cools and costs rise. Local officials say the pullback could slow hiring and ripple through suppliers. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani named Stanley Richards as Correction Commissioner after his predecessor resigned. Richards, a longtime jail reform advocate, now takes over a system under federal scrutiny and staffing strain. Thousands rallied near a Portland ICE facility on Saturday, and witnesses said agents fired tear gas and pepper balls into the crowd. Mayor Keith Wilson demanded ICE leave the city. Police reported no arrests. Speaker Mike Johnson said the House aims to end the partial government shutdown by Tuesday, with a bill funding most agencies and a 2-week DHS stopgap. Democrats say DHS reforms must come first. The FBI executed a search warrant at a Fulton County elections facility tied to Georgia's 2020 recount and seized ballots and equipment. County officials said they're cooperating and that the certified results are unchanged. Democrat Taylor Remmett won a North Texas state Senate runoff, flipping a district Republicans had held for decades. GOP leaders blamed low turnout, and Remmett will face voters again in November.